where your agency is at today as a result of all this?
Well, I had 0 clients and, and zero revenue. It's really only been like 7 or so weeks or so, but I'm at 5 regular paying clients right now.
Whoa.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so my name is Curt. I'm from Ontario, Canada. And recently, last few months, my career has kind of shifted in such a way that I had some available time that I could fill either out on the streets getting in trouble or perhaps getting something a little more fruitful with my time. And I've got a couple of kids that I like an awful lot that are getting older, and I know there's going to be some expenses knocking on my door very soon. And I felt that it was time to kind of get a more official kind of side hustle in place. My background has been IT for a long time. I mean, not that it's needed for what we're talking about here today, but I've done like lots of networks and built websites and search engine optimization and things like that. And it was good. It is good, but it's very feast or famine sort of a business, right? You know, these great months where you do very, very good. But then you get weeks or months where you don't have anything at all. And that's what I was trying to get away from, is just be a more consistent consultant for a select few customers as opposed to being a yes man to everyone.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And yeah, we see a lot of people obviously join the Blueprint with aspirations of, side hustle or something more. But there's definitely, nothing to seize that. We've seen a lot of people, jump in that, don't have intentions of quitting their jobs, and just want to make some side income, pay out their student debt a little bit faster, knock down their consumer debt, or put money away for a college fund, whatever it is. And then sometimes they find success and end up leaving their day job and replacing that income. But I do think that it's just cool for you, Curt, somebody who's, has a career currently, has had success with that, to be able to achieve the results that you've been able to achieve while still obviously checking the boxes on, the day job and paying the bills and stuff like that, but also being able to build a solid, side hustle, as you eloquently put it, kind of running the agency on the side. I think a lot of people kind of question whether that's something that you can achieve with this type of business, which is really cool.
Yeah, and it most definitely is. I mean, my day job that I have right now, I'm very fortunate that I love it. Like, I really, really like my day job. If this side hustle was to, make me $1 million a year, I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart, I still wouldn't quit it. I love my day job. I can just love the paycheck more. That's all. But who wouldn't say that, right?
Sure.
But you're absolutely right that this business is so unique in that you can bite off exactly as much as you think you want to chew at any given time, right? And you can't say that about too many other lines of work, really. So it's been a really good fit for me personally.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like a lot of people jump in and they think that immediately they just need to have all this time available, or they need to go from like 0 to 100 and just start working with all kinds of clients, and it's just going to take up like all this time. But in reality, you can run a more modest approach to it and invest time after hours, or time, as Derek and I were getting started, it was over lunch break at our day jobs from time to time, or, if we were visiting a client, it was airplane Wi-Fi, ducking into a conference room once in a while. The old 9 to 5 to kind of make it happen. So it's these little pockets of time where you can have huge impact and change your life, which is cool. And just to recap too, as Curt said, he had done maybe a little bit of SEO stuff, but really didn't come from a traditional marketing background, hadn't been working for a big agency, was in IT, which is quite technical, right? And then, made the leap. What obviously you had your why, the kids growing up, and all the things that kind of come along with that, but like, what made you curious about the Blueprint? How did you find us? And then, what kind of just resonated with you and kind of made you choose us out of everything available out there.
So I think I did probably what almost everyone does, and you kind of go down that, YouTube university kind of thing there, where you're trying to learn it all yourself. And the information is certainly there, but the disinformation is as well, right? And I would say that fairly confident the disinformation outweighs the information that's available. So I would research a topic on an ads manager or ways to structure an ad, and you get very, not just differing opinions, but like completely opposing advice, and people talking with such conviction that this is how you do it, and they're wrong, right? They're really, really wrong. So I deduced fairly quickly that I needed help with this. So I did a lot of research and searching around for a blueprint type of a course that I could take. I took one, and I didn't like it. Like it wasn't the value wasn't that great, so I didn't really get too much out of that. But I still understood that what I could offer was still very great. So I mean, of course, it doesn't work out the first time. You just don't say, "Oh, I guess I wasn't meant to be in you one," just to playing the tambourine for a living or something. But the idea though is that I took the one course, and it was a dud. And then I found you, and actually I found two other groups that looked pretty good, and I read the reviews and I saw some videos, and it all seemed square. And I'm pretty sure that the other two companies that I was looking at were also very good. I'm not saying that they wouldn't be, but this is the differential between you and them, is that I had signed up for yours, and I signed up for a couple of the other ones there, and almost immediately I got the book your free call, onboarding sort of a thing, right? And with the other two, I watched these videos and I saw these faces and heard these voices. Like it was a person, right, that I was talking to. And then when I got the call, or had the Zoom call with the companies, it wasn't them. It was a sales rep or something like that. And again, I'm sure they were fine, but it was jarring for me, because it's not what I was expecting. I thought I was going to meet the guy that I was watching all these videos about, right? And in your case, it was Derek, and we had a brief call, or a Zoom call rather, and it was exceptional. And I think Derek's got a resting heart rate of about 30, and like it was just very calm, right? And his videos, and how he's right now, and how he'll be tomorrow. Maybe when he turns the camera off, he turns into an animal. I don't know, but his
sometimes I do jujitsu and it gets crazy, but
flipping tables.
What you see is what you get.
That's perfect. But it struck me as very genuine, and I don't mean that from like a marketing sense. I mean that as a genuine sense. Like it was genuine, right? Like I saw these videos of you two saying these are the sorts of things that you're doing, and here's what you can help with. And then we had a real life, not real life, but you know what I mean, like a call. And it was the same. It just seemed like a very natural progression to throw my wallet at you. So we did that, and then with the blueprint, and part of the blueprint there was that call, and then I had asked about the Ascension, and you weren't shovey about it or anything. You didn't even say, yeah, this would be a good fit. Like it was so, like, again, resting heart rate of 30, just like, yeah, sure. This is what we do, and here's some ways it can probably work for you, and it's not for everyone, but for people that anyway, it was just fantastic, and I really the whole process really resonated with me.
Awesome. Yeah, so many people I say that as well when they jump on the call with us, and they're like, wow, it's actually you. You're actually, like, because no other course creators or mentors, they put together their program, and then it's either like a junior rep or something like that jumps on, and that's a huge differentiator for us, that we take the time to speak with everyone, and we really want to ensure their success and, you know, make sure it's a good fit, get them kicked off in the right direction. So yeah, I love that.
Yeah, no, it's been good. So once I started to actually, you know, dig into the blueprint itself, it it's just laid out, and now with 2.0, it's even wilder. Just the layout of, like, you know, from the mentality to the, you know, the vision boarding and the processes and the whole bit. It all makes so much sense in the order that it's in. To the point where actually, when I had, it's my second or third customer, I guess. After I'd taken your course, and we had a discovery call, and, you know, in the course you talk about how to lay out the conversation, basically, like what you want to touch on, what you want to make sure they talk about, and things like that. And we did that. And at the end of the call, we talked money and all that kind of stuff. And she said, yeah, that sounds pretty good. Can you send me something over? So it's right in your blueprint. So, like, that kicks off the contract, right? So we do the DocuSign, which you provided, build it, the name, the business, her company name, and all that kind of stuff. And you know, send it over to her, and then she signs it, sends it back. The bill goes back to her. She paid, and then, you know, it's just immediate, right? To the point where she called me, like, you know, 5 minutes after I sent her the invoice, and she's like, "Hey, I got your invoice. That's great." And I was thinking, just, you know, but something's going offside here at this point. And she's like, "You know, I got your invoice. That's great. Do you mind if I just pay the 3 months up front?" Just felt it was easier accounting or whatever. But for her to go to somebody that she's never met before, to, like, you know, throwing out that kind of money, it doesn't speak anything about me. It speaks about the process, right? Like, anybody
Sure.
can do that, right? And when these potential customers see a well-oiled machine, much like my experience with you, it was this very well-oiled machine. That genuineness, that white glove polished experience, it just can't be overstated. It's very powerful.
No, that's incredible. And I mean, that was a process that obviously made a big difference in our business once we started rolling that out, and just kind of like that world-class feel that we provide to our clients. And I think that, you know, anybody can start a marketing agency, right? Anybody can start an SMA. And if you're watching this, you know, wherever this might end up, and you're questioning, you know, whether you can, you know, with the right direction and everything, you absolutely can. But it's really those tiny little optimizations. So just so everybody's kind of clear on what Curt just said, you know, he followed a process that we teach in our Ascension program, where we set up automations for the clients that sign up with your agency. So as soon as your agreement is signed, they receive onboarding emails, they receive their invoice immediately. It's immediately buttoned up, and they get that perception that you're immediately starting to work on their business. So it's kind of like signing up for a new software, right? When you sign up, you know, for DocuSign or you know, for Zoom, you know, Zoom doesn't wait 3 days to email you with your account details. You know, immediately you're given access to what you just invested in, and we can replicate that with our agencies. And to be clear, Curt, you, as a result of this, were able to collect 3 times as much cash up front just because of this tiny hack, per her quote.
Exactly, and everything that you just said is true, and I always kind of conceptually knew that, but I always considered those things just to be details, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would say, like, you know, the big thing is the ad and the results and all kind of stuff, and that's a big thing. I'm not discounting that, but those things that I consider details, when you click them all together like Lego, they're not small. They're very powerful, very powerful. You clearly didn't just dream that up. Like, that's through, you know, I'm going to assume a lot of trial and error, a lot of error in that trial and error, but just, you know, kind of getting that well-oiled machine, and that initial perception from a new client is very well received.
Love that.
Yeah, It's incredible. And I do think it just, that those first impressions are everything, it's, how long does it take to receive the contract if they agree to do business with you? How long after that does it take for them to achieve next steps? And unfortunately, Derek and I did kind of learn that the hard way, right? Early on, we closed a big deal. We didn't provide that custom tailored world-class level of experience. The results were there. We were providing results for them, right? The ads were doing good. And to us as experts, the optics were the client should be ecstatic. Look at how good of a job we're doing, right? But to them, we didn't have a standing call. We were slow to get her the agreement. We were slow to update her on results. And as a result of that, the opposite happened. We lost them as a client. And after that, Derek and I went on this science project of how do we make sure client communication and experience is never a problem again? And I think that a lot of people, instead of going that route, they say, how do I just make sure I can get more clients? As opposed to how do I hang on to and provide an amazing experience for the clients that I already have, which is really what we try and teach our students at the Blueprint, right? It's, yes, we want to maximize our ROI. We want to charge as much as we can per month. We want to keep them around for as long as we can and work with as many clients as we can and run as profitable a business as we can. But the key building block to that really starts with that client experience and them just being elated to be doing business with you as soon as they start.
Yeah, I think to further on that point too, is that, the siren song or whatever you want to call it, like new clients is, it's still, don't get me wrong, I love new clients. But if you don't have those processes in place, instead of having that kind of, for one client, you're going to be doing 10 times that for 10 clients. And it's a quick trip to the psych ward. Like, that is no way to, it's no way to live, right? Like at all. Like the deliverable that you're getting your client will clearly suffer. But just the stress of it all is out of control.
Like you said too, you thought the ad was the thing. That was exactly what we thought. We thought, hey, the performance is what's really going to matter, but you got paid up front. And even just recently, David and I, we had kicked off a client and we had gotten a referral, like a very high quality referral before we even went live. So we had kicked off the engagement. They were so impressed with like the buttoned up process to get started that they had already pulled in another company who happened to be like a Silicon Valley, great, startup for us to be working with. And we hadn't done anything for them technically yet, as far as like advertising goes, but they had experienced so many things leading up to that they felt comfortable already floating our name to somebody, which is massive and kind of speaks to that process that you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so Curt, just so we kind of just talk about like some quick metrics. So initially you joined the SMA Blueprint. Our core program is kind of what we're known for in the community. And then very quickly after that, decided to jump in on the Ascension program, which is, for everybody watching this, it's kind of our closer mentorship, scaling program for, helping things just move along faster with agency owners, whether you're just beginning or whether you're established and the systems are falling apart, you're trying to figure out how to provide better results to your clients. It's sort of who it's created for. Just kind of give me an understanding of like where you're at for clients today, what made you really want to move forward with the Ascension program, or kind of what caught your interest around it, just because, we don't put a lot out there about Ascension unless you decide to jump on a call with us. So maybe just kind of give an overview of what you thought was interesting around it and just like where your agency is at today as a result of all this.
Okay, so like 3 months ago, I had 0 clients and zero revenue. So very, very humble beginnings. But and not that today's like this massive success story, but it's really only been like 7 or so weeks or so. But I'm at 5 regular paying clients right now.
Whoa.
And to answer your question, like the Ascension program is that, I tore through the blueprint and I loved it.
Yep.
But my understanding was that the Ascension program actually gave me direct access to you. No offense, more Derek, but but you too. but because, like I was saying earlier about like where you have, one client, you're kind of all over the map, having five is just five times the insanity, right? And I quickly kind of got a handle on how to tame that beast, and that was that alone like was worth the price of admission right there, like by far, like no question. If there's nothing else other than that, I'd still be thrilled, right? But in my understanding was that the Ascension program, there was and there is, of course, you drill down into like specific niches. So if it's, real estate or blue collar or dentists or what have you there, there's real speaking points on them right from the initial kind of discovery call, things that you want to talk about. That's going to be things that they are already thinking about, to show that you did some homework and you're knowledgeable about their space and all that. And then add examples and all that to kind of tie into that. And I know a lot of that's in the blueprint, but this is here on a deeper level. But then where the real value is for me personally is that I can jump on a regular call with you on Tuesdays, and I can say, hey, look, I've got a problem with this specific ad. I'm doing this, and I think I'm doing everything right, but I'm clearly not. And with your experienced eyes, you look at it and then just be able to give me really clear advice as to what to try to do. Well, even the mortgage agent that I brought up a few days ago, I posted it on the group, and like, I don't know, 10 minutes later, David, you had responded and said, here, move this here, do things like that, and and it's very actionable, right? I could get right on it. So I can get back to the client. I could say, hey, look, I talked to this really smart guy, and and he said that this is what you got to do. But one of the talking points that I use on my discovery calls is you guys, right? Like I actually, because they're asking, and rightfully so, like, who are you, Curt? Like, why would I do business with a marketing agency? It's been in business for 7 weeks. And that's a really good question. And but I can tell them I've got, examples of what I've done, right? And then I tell them about this group that I paid for, and then there's this Ascension program, and it certainly wasn't free, but this is what I get out of it. And I always say, when we run into challenges, I don't say if I say when we run into challenges, we've got the resources to figure it out, and
Sure.
be fine. And that's been the case 100% of the time.
I feel like that is something that is so underutilized as well. Like, I think when people buy a program, at least when Derek and I bought our first like course online for running a business better or whatever it was, we saw like the Facebook group and like the Slack channel access, and we saw that it was like a tertiary add-on, right, on the value ladder of things that were important. And actually getting access to those groups and access to the creators of these programs is actually more important than the actual coursework in a lot of ways. We realized, right, where we could get these questions answered, we could see other people winning, have their success, surround ourselves with other people kind of on the same journey, and also have that ear to have our questions answered. It's just something you just like can't get from YouTube University or these other places. And also having that arrow in your quiver where you can say, I have a group of thousands of other agency owners that I work alongside, that I can collaborate with, share ideas. So you're not just getting access to me, you're getting access to my community that I built and I participate in, of thousands of agency owners. I just think that's a huge value add, where you have this Rolodex of people who have gone through similar things, are going through similar things, or are starting their businesses and along their journey, that you can send the ladder back down for, as you continue to grow. But that's a huge piece that I think is kind of overlooked by a lot of people, but you can use to market yourself, get questions answered, and overall just run a better business.
Yeah, and I was going to say a perfect example of that too is like today, Brandon in the group, he's like, hey, I'm having my first discovery call. What should I do? What should I offer? And it was like, okay, relax, go through the client meeting guide, check out the real estate section, so what to say and what to worry about before the call. And then if the pressure's on to give a recommendation on services, just say, all right, I need to chat with my team. Thank you for this information. I learned a lot about your business. And he was like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, we are your team, like we're your team. Go through the client meeting guide, come back to the Ascension group, and we'll hash it out. We'll put together a strategy. From the client's perspective, like we're your support staff here,
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic. And much like how you probably live your life, never mind operate your business there, it's just a place of genuineness, right? And I think, especially with the advent of Zoom calls being being pretty standard now too. I mean, people pick up on that. So I mean, if you think you're going to take a course and just, pardon me, bullshit your way through these discovery calls, you're not. Like, you're just not. So, being open and honest with your clients about what you're doing, and the thing that I like to keep in mind too is, I'm older than you guys, that's for sure, but is that 15 years ago, nobody was doing this for a living.
Yeah.
Like, they just weren't, right? This is still very new, right? We're all figuring it out, right? 100%. Things are changing all the time. And so, to think that you need to be this like completely switched on, Facebook gearhead that knows everything about everything before you can get going is completely false. Completely false. And in the fast pass to cash section of your course there, where you talk about like the trials and all that kind of stuff, that's just as much for you as it is for them, the potential client, right? Mm-hmm. You get your hands dirty. You're actually got your hands under the hood, and you're doing stuff, and you're gonna learn it. You're gonna learn the technical, not that it's that technical, but you're gonna learn the ins and outs of ad manager and business manager and all that kind of stuff. Yep. But what I learned deeply is specific niches that I don't want to work with, like deeply, right? And how great is that? Like on a 7-day trial, I'm like, you failed the trial, not me. Like,
yeah, you did not pass.
That's right. So how do we keep going? Man, we don't, and that's it.
Yeah, we don't. I like that. Yeah, well, that's a good position to be in when you can fire clients. I love that. That's awesome.
It helps having a day job, but yeah, for sure does.
Yep. For sure. So let me ask you this, Curt. Obviously, a lot of people come to SMMA for like social media marketing agency business model for a lot of different reasons. Some want to start a side hustle, some want to quit their 9-to-5 jobs, some are in high school and have had success with our programs and want to avoid ever needing to go to college or ever get a 9-to-5 job. Who would you recommend for the program? I mean, if somebody's kind of watching this and they're kind of wondering like, hey, I wonder if this is right for me, or they're looking at other options out there. I mean, just kind of tell me like maybe what you would say to them, or like who you'd recommend this for, or maybe give them some words of wisdom as somebody who's, really been taking action hard, been in the program for 3 months, been working really hard for 7 weeks of those 3 months, and has already produced 5 clients. I mean, what would you say to Curt, who is just kind of getting started, wondering if he had what it takes to be successful at this?
I would say definitely buy the blueprint. Buy the blueprint. It's not expensive at all. The value is incredible, but it's not expensive to try. And really, if you're trying to do any kind of business, fix lawnmowers or pools or whatever, you're going to spend like 10 times that in tools and whatnot, right? So yeah. Buy the blueprint. Right. And just get into it. And if you like it at all, the Ascension program is like 15 times that, not the price, like 15 times the value is the value. So if to anybody that's thinking that they might want to do this as a side hustle or a day job or what have you, no one was doing this 15 years ago. There's no reason you couldn't do this. The fact that you've got the wherewithal to think that it's an option would be enough for me to think that you've got what it takes to at least give it a very solid effort, right? So like anything else, it's not just, buy the gym membership and you get ripped. You buy the gym membership and then you go, and then you go, and then you go, right? And it's the same thing. It's the same thing for this. You take the blueprint, throw yourself into it for a month. After a month, you're frustrated or it's not working out or whatever, life's too short. Go sell ice cream, whatever. Like you can do something else.
Sure.
But the barrier to entry into this is so low, like, financially to get involved. I would say this is for anybody that thinks they want to give it a try. There's not a better option than the SMMA blueprint. There just isn't.
Love it.
Love it.
Yeah. And one other question I had too, it sounded like you'd taken a couple courses, or, definitely looked into a lot of different courses, bought a couple, besides the one-on-one call that you got in the beginning, really the more personalized approach. Was there any key differences that you noticed in either our approach or like philosophies, training styles, course curriculum, anything like that? Just because, most people are fairly, everyone's like educated consumers nowadays. They're going out, they're looking at reviews, comparing different products, apples to apples. So was there anything that you noticed that was different going through the blueprint and Ascension versus some of our other competitors or other people in the space?
Definitely. The big one, and I know I've mentioned this like 3 or 4 times already, but it still holds true, is the genuineness of it. The one that I had taken and really didn't like, it had that snake oil. You know what I mean by that? I say snake oil.
Yeah.
It had that snake oil sales kind of feel to it, right? Like hacks and stuff like that, where never mind that it didn't pass the integrity sniff test, but the goal of that course was like every step was how to do the least amount of work, and that was kind of it, right? Like how to do the least amount of work to keep your clients around, and that's not. There's a particle of DNA that I like about that kind of mentality, right? It's about having clients that you service the heck out of. They love you and they want you more, right? They want you to do more stuff for them because you're just not just such a great guy, but you're so effective at what you do, and you're approachable, and you get back to them quickly, and you get all their needs, right? And your course, it's very much client focused, right? Like the end result for that perception.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm being clear here or not, but basically to kind of set yourself up. You guys use the term sticky a lot, right? But to kind of set yourself up as the guy, right? And everything that the course kind of lines out is to become that guy. And it's not a sales ploy. It's not some kind of Jedi mind trick tactic or anything like that. It's just how to be really good at what you do and be very, very valuable for these clients. And you just can't ask for more than that. You guys just keep it real, and I completely respect that. Completely respect that.
Awesome. Well, yeah, man. Thanks a bunch for jumping on and being willing to chat with us. And we'll let you get to the rest of your afternoon here, and we'll see you on next Tuesday's call.
Sounds good. Take care, boys.
All right.
See ya.
See you, everybody.
Appreciate it.